Kentai.haven, this is a message from Sapnap. I'm formally asking for a reassessment.
I decided to reassess Sapnap's height using the Velcro strap on his hat. But first, I needed his hand size.
That water bottle you used was incorrect.
This you? My girl most likely got him his bottle from Target, and I used some dimensions from Amazon to solve for the diameter using the bottle's height and volume. And since this is a reassessment, I used these lines to get the distance between his fingers. Next, I'm going to be referencing this image for the width of the Velcro strap, in which it spanned 4.9 straps against his chest. First, convert fluid ounces into cubic inches and solve for the diameter of the cylinder. Divide the number by 106 and multiply by 102 for the distance between his fingers. And subtract that number from the circumference of the bottle to get his hand size. Multiply that number by 5. Multiply by 2. Add the hand size back on. Multiply by 2 to account for both arms. Multiply 3 by 4.9 for chest size. And add those two numbers together to be level at 68.68 inches. Or 5 feet 3. Nah, just playing. 5'8" and 2/3.
Like I said, no one on this app will ever figure out my real height.
To start things off, I decided to go with this photo of him holding this camera. At first I thought it was a Canon, but I saw some specks of yellow, which led me to believe it's a Nikon camera. Since we know he does portrait photography, I'm going to assume that he's using this lens with an 85mm focal length, and I'm going to assume the body is a Nikon D3500, which is a popular choice for photography. Next, I'm going to be using this car as a chest reference. Just when I suspected it to be a 2014 BMW X1, but I found this video that showed a frame of a different seatbelt holster. This you? After hours of researching cars, I was able to determine that he was using a 2012 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, which has an interior width of 1,390mm, and I'm suspecting the seat to be a third of that. First, multiply the diameter of the lens by pi to get the circumference. Subtract the height of the camera to get his hand size. Multiply that number by 1.618. Multiply that number by 2. Add the hand size back on. Multiply by 2 to account for both arms. And add a third of the interior width for his chest size to be left with 75.84 inches, or 6'3" and 4/5 inches.
How many pounds of snow fell on Texas?
I decided to calculate the pounds of snow in Texas by finding the average temperature and snowfall of major cities from each of the 4 regions. First, I needed the area, and I converted that into square meters. This you? Yeah, it's just not the same. I recorded the average temperature from the 15th and 16th of these 6 cities as well as their snowfall in inches. And I slapped that data into this calculator, which is essentially going to compute the snow density in kilograms per cubic meter based off the temperature. Then you convert to pounds to be left with about 12.5 trillion pounds, which is equivalent to about 964.4 million male African bush elephants falling on the state of Texas, which is also equivalent to about 17,200 Empire State Buildings. Yikes.
No one can guess my height law. Find Kamala's height for an award.
I was tasked by the president to find Kamala's height for Black History Month, and yes, the president has an Android. Secret Service locked away most of her photos, so I had to find her height based off this photo of her holding hot sauce.
Jeez.
This you? The hot sauce had a max width of 2.45 inches, and I used Photoshop to readjust the image in which I'm estimating her hand to be about 3/4 around the circumference of the bottle. For test reference, I'm going to be using this image of her holding her book, Superheroes Are Everywhere.
Lord have mercy.
The book had a max height of 11.31 inches, and I'm estimated to span about 1 1/5 books across her chest. First, multiply 2.45 by pi to get the circumference of the hot sauce. Multiply that number by 0.75. Multiply that number by 1.618. Multiply that number by 2. Add the hand size back on. Multiply by 2 to account for both arms. Multiply 11.31 by 1.2 for the length of the books. And add those two numbers together to be left with 62.47 inches, or about 5 feet 2.5. Her favorite shoe brand is Converse, and she probably wears a 6.5 in women's. She's an AKA, and her favorite dessert fruit probably revolves around bananas.
Listen, you could have gotten Sapnap's height, but there's no chance that you're getting mine, bro.
I decided to find Carl's height using this box of Hot Pockets and this Christmas candle.
Survivor
This
Mr.
you?
Base. Chandler.
This you? Based off this photo of him holding Bath & Body Works bags, I was able to deduce that he had a limited edition under the Christmas tree candle, which was 14.5 ounces, so I found one of similar size and I got the dimensions. Then I readjusted the candles across his hand. Next, I needed the dimensions of the Hot Pocket packaging.
Sheesh.
The box had a width of 7 inches, and I'm estimated to span 2 1/5 boxes across his chest. First, multiply 4 by 1 5/8 for hand size. Multiply by 5. Multiply the number by 2. Add the hand size back on. Multiply by 2 to account for both arms. Multiply 7 by 2 1/5 for chest size. And add those two numbers together to be left with 70.46 inches, or just under 5'10 and a half.